May is also National Melanoma Month. I'd like to share a little bit of my personal story. My mom over the years was a lifeguard, and many, many years of baby oil and betadine and coming home and smelling like vinegar because that took the sting out of the burn. It still does today. And I had always said that if I had to ever put sunscreen on, that was going to be my last day because I just love the sun and we're outdoor people and we don't take time to do things like that. So last summer, about a year ago, my mom was up and said, "Look at this dot that I have. It's a squamous cell cancer." And I said, "Well, my gosh, I have one just like that in the same spot." So being in Kansas City, I was calling all around trying to find a dermatologist that had availability, and I was finding that it was 6 to 9 months out for a wait. And about that same time, Dr. Tarantino and his team were joining our organization, and I kind of just skid down there and didn't want to get in front of any patients, but said, "What do you think about this spot?" And he says, "I can tell you right now that's a squamous cell cancer." And he said, "You definitely need to have that looked at. How long have you had that?" And I said, "Well, it's probably been 2 or 3 years." Dr. Tarantino did a biopsy on that, and sure enough, it was diagnosed as a squamous cell. And I had a Mohs procedure done that, thank goodness, was just a first layer having to have it done. But it did take me off my feet for probably about 2 weeks and has given me the course that I won't be in tanning beds again, and telling my kids that we will be wearing sunscreen and our babies and grandchildren will be wearing sunscreen. Was really kind of scary because, I think you hear cancer and I see people around me with other types of cancer that are like, "Oh my gosh." But you think skin cancer is just something that's not really a big deal. But when I heard that this is squamous cell, and you, of course, go to Google and Google Docs and see how important squamous cell is and what that can turn into, it's pretty serious. And I remember calling Dr. Tarantino that night after my procedure and saying, "Thank you so much for saving my life." This spot was on my lower leg down on my ankle. And when you think about different things, I think even as a woman in my 50s, I've started to put sunscreen on my face or on my arms or on my chest. And I really think sometimes we forget our legs, and you think about golfers that are out golfing or people because you want your legs to be tan or you're not really thinking about it. And so what a spot to have sun damage. So just looked like this little tiny pencil spot and started getting a little itchy one day. And I thought, well, it's just because I've gotten it irritated, scratching it, things like that. So one of the things that Dr. Tarantino shared with me that I think I've shared with many people is after you're 40, if you have a mole or something on your skin that is changing, that's not right. And you need to have that looked at.